Hi, welcome. Good to see you again. I'm so glad you could join me while I'm out exercising and doing my social distancing at the same time. I wanted to thank you for sending your videos in, those great little workshops you're doing, those how-to videos. They've been awesome. Let's check out Audrey's. She goes to Hume Fogg. She sent us a really cool one. Take it away, Audrey.
Okay guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to paint these cute little sunset rocks with just paint from your dollar store and a couple rocks you can find outside. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is find some nice smooth rocks outdoors that'll be easy to paint. Then you're going to need yourself some paint. It can vary depending on how you want your sunset to look, but what I used was some white, orange, yellow, a nice light green, sky blue, and some black. And then of course you're going to want yourself some paintbrushes. You can make do with just the thin one, but I also like to use a thicker one to speed some parts along. And you're going to want some water to clean off your brushes in between each color. So before you can get to any of the fun parts, you have to get yourself a nice clean background that you're not worried about getting anything on. You can use newspapers, just some regular copy paper, but layer it up. Or you can do what I use, which is use an old piece of cardboard. You're also going to need something to put your paint on, mix your paint on, to get all the right colors. Now, before we get started with the actual fun part of the painting, you want to give yourself a clean canvas. So you're going to take your white paint, and you're going to get your thickest brush, and then you're going to dip that brush in the white paint and completely cover the rock. So after you've given it a few layers and let it dry, the finished product should look something like this. Nice and even, nice and clean. Gives you completely finished and even canvas. The next thing you have to do is start with your sunset. The first color you want to take is your yellow to go around the base of the rock. So just get some on your paper plate or piece of cardboard, dip your thinner brush into it, and go to town. I'm going to start at the bottom part of your rock and work up. And now, before that can dry, what you want to do is get your orange so you can put them together and do an orange layer in the middle. And you may have to keep going over with the other orange to get a nice blend. The paint tends to dry quickly. Then what you want to do is you want to grab your blue. You're going to take a thin brush with the blue and go down the top. You may have to wash your brush off at this point because you don't want them to blend completely and you want some gold blue. The finished sky should look something like this, with some nice yellow at the base, fading up to a nice light blue at the top. Now you're going to want to let that dry so you can do your layers of hills. Wash off your brush and get your green. Now, with hills, the way you make your strokes does matter because you want to go in nice, smooth, flowing curves. I like to start out with the middle hill and just go shoop. Just do a nice semicircle, not too round though. It may look strange, just a random hill right in the center, but we're gonna add 2 more on the sides to make it look nice and natural. And you might have to do layers on the green in order to make it stand out and that you don't see the sunset through them. Now, I like to go ahead and add the hills on the side. Now, once you've got the 3 bumps, you're going to want to take your black so you can do a little bit of shading and make those hills really definitive so they don't just look like 3 lumps that are all put together. So you take that black and add a tiny bit of it to your green. Now, in the lower corners of the hill in the very back, you're gonna want to take that darker green and where the 2 front hills in the front end, you are going to draw a line that you will then blend out. And now, this hill is basically entirely dark. So what I'm going to do is add back in some light green in the center and just blend it out so you just have nice shadows in the very corners. There you go, you got 3 little hills. I also like to add a little bit of that darker green that you made into the corners of the other hill. So it's like the sun's hitting them. So it's like the sun's hitting the tops and then fading out. And then you want to blend that dark green that you just added out onto the rest of the hill. Again, you may have to add a few more layers of that light green to make sure that sunset isn't peeking through. Once you've done a few more layers and cleaned up those shading and the edges, your hills should start looking something like this. Now you may see I have a little bit of a bumpy, uneven edge right there. But we're going to go back with the yellow and smooth that out and also make it look like the sun shining out from right behind the hills. What you're going to do is take the yellow that should be already on your tray. Don't be afraid to squeeze more if you need it. You're going to take that yellow and your skinny brush after washing the green out of it. And you are going to get in the very edges of the hills and trace them. Trace the line in between them and the sky. You may have to add some more oranges and kind of remake your sky and blend it out, making sure it's all blending together. So I'm going to go back with a little bit of orange and maybe even a little bit of blue and just blend it all out. It may help to get your brush wet a little bit so they blend better in our thinner colors. Now that you've let your hills and sky dry, it should now resemble something like that. See, with the nice yellow glowing over the hills and the orange and blue fading out nicely. The next part, next step, is to do your clouds. So you're going to take some more of that white, nice shiny white. And what you're going to do is get your thin brush get your thin brush, wash it off again. You are going to want to dry this one off a little bit too. So I like to grab some paper towels just to make sure it's nice and clean, especially when working with white. And then you're going to do your clouds. You're going to get some white on the very tip of your brush, and you're going to start dabbing. You dab to give your clouds more of a fluffy texture instead of swirly, thick swipes. What I'm doing right now is dabbing up some of the paint to make it thinner, make it fluffier. Clouds don't just stand alone, so you're going to want to layer up your clouds and get some behind others. So what I would then do is a larger cloud behind that first cloud and have it just fade out into sky to show that it's two different clouds and not just one massive cloud. So you want to leave some separation in between the two clouds. I'm going to add a third cloud on the other side of the rock. Higher or lower, depends on how you feel. I'm going to do mine lower. I'm going to stick to just 3 clouds though, because my rock is so small. But if you have a larger rock, you can do more hills, more clouds, and dip more colors on your sky. But I like to keep my sky very simple and cute. What I did with these clouds, which I didn't say I was going to do, was add yellow to the very base to make it look like the sun was reflecting off of the bases of the clouds and shining on them. Now, while I only showed you one one way to paint rocks. You can paint them however you want. You can do little galaxies, little monsters, and even little caterpillars. I find this caterpillar with giant googly eyes very cute. And you can get creative. You can have puppy paint, googly eyes, buttons, whatever you want. Again, as long as it just makes you happy.
That was really cool, Audrey. Thank you so much for sending us that video. I never thought about painting rocks like that. I'm going to try that tonight. I hope some of you will too. So remember, if you have a really neat skill that you can do, feel free to make a video and send it to me at studionplnashville@gmail.com. That's studionplnashville@gmail.com. Keep those videos coming.